Commissioner Cox,
Here.
Commissioner Finney, Commissioner Hamilton, Commissioner Leahy, Commissioner Latour,
Here.
Commissioner May. You have 8 members present. You do have a quorum.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I move for approval of the September 22nd, 2016 minutes of the Planning Commission.
And all in favor? And all opposed? Your minutes have passed. All right, Ms. James, we are ready.
The presentation of the consent agenda, Little Rock Planning Commission subdivision agenda, November 3rd, 2016. Items for consent withdrawal. Item E, file number Z-5991-E, Tract I, the Villages of Wellington, short form PCD, located at 800 Wellington Hills Road. The applicant submitted a request dated October 19, 2016, requesting withdrawal of this item without prejudice. Staff is supportive of the withdrawal request. Items for consent deferral. Item B, file number Z-9105-A, Stonecrest Apartments, short form PDR, located at 9700 Baseline Road. Staff recommends deferral of this item to the December 15, 2016 public hearing. Item number 3, file number S-1782, Alexander Mountain preliminary plat, located on the south end of Main Street, Alexander, Arkansas, within the city of Little Rock city limits. The applicant requested on October 20th, 2016, deferral of this item to the December 15th, 2016 public hearing to allow this item as well as a request for a master street plan amendment to be considered by the Commission at the December 15th, 2016 meeting. Item number 8, file number Z-9171, Levy, short form PDR, located at 622 South Valentine Street. The applicant submitted a written request on October 25th, 2016, requesting deferral of this item to the December 15th, 2016 public hearing. Staff is supportive of the deferral request. Items for consent approval. Item A, file number Z-8198-A, Goodwill Industries of Arkansas, the Excel Center, long form PID, located at 7400 Scott Hamilton Drive. Staff recommends approval of the request, subject to compliance with the comments and conditions as outlined in paragraphs D, E, and F of the agenda staff report. Item number C, file number Z-5570-C, Lush Lemon Therapy Retreat, short form POD, located at 12418 Cantrell Road. Staff recommends approval of the request, subject to compliance with the comments and conditions as outlined in paragraphs D, E, and F of the agenda staff report. Item number D, file number Z-6453-D, Diamond Park Community, revised short form PDR, located west of John Barrow Road on Labette Drive. Staff recommends approval of the request, subject to compliance with the comments and conditions as outlined in paragraphs D, E, and F of the agenda staff report. Staff recommends approval of the variance request from the city's land alteration ordinance to allow advanced grading of the site. Item number 1, file number S-285-TTTT, The Ranch 2016 revised preliminary plat located on the southeast corner of Ranch Boulevard and I think that's supposed to be Overlook Drive. Staff recommends approval of the request, subject to compliance with the comments and conditions as outlined in paragraphs D, E, and F of the agenda staff report. Staff recommends approval of the variance request from section 31-232 to allow the creation of a pipe stem lot. Staff recommends approval of the variance request from the land alteration ordinance to allow the removal of trees outside of the right-of-way with the installation of the utilities to serve the new lots. Item number 4, file number Z-6932-C, Arkansas Association of Nigerians African Heritage House, revised short form PCD, located at 9802 Geyer Springs Road. Staff recommends approval of the request, subject to compliance with the comments and conditions as outlined in paragraphs D, E, and F of the agenda staff report. Staff recommends prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant provides staff with a long-term lease for 22 parking spaces. If at any time the lease is voided or the use of the property is discontinued, the PCD must be brought back to the Commission for review and approval. Item number 5, file number Z-8472-C, Midtown at Fair Park, revised short form PCD, located on the southwest corner of I-630 and Fair Park Boulevard. Staff recommends approval of the request, subject to compliance with the comments and conditions as outlined in paragraphs D, E, and F of the agenda staff report. Item number 6, file number Z-6738-A, Little Rock Salsa, short form PCD, located at 614 President Clinton Avenue. Staff recommends approval of the request, subject to compliance with the comments and conditions as outlined in paragraphs D, E, and F of the agenda staff report. Staff recommends should there be a transfer of the business or ownership, the approval must be reviewed via revision to the PCD zoning. Item number 7, file number Z-9172, Orndorff Construction, short form PDR, located in the 500 block of East 16th Street. There is a note to the correction in the agenda that track 4 is proposed with 4-foot side yard setback on each side of the lots. Staff recommends approval of the request, subject to compliance with the comments and conditions as outlined in paragraphs D, E, and F of the agenda staff report. And item number 9, file number Z-9173, Holston Conditional Use Permit located at 1905 West 2nd Street. Staff recommends approval of the request, subject to compliance with the comments and conditions as outlined in sections 4, 5, and 6 of the staff report. Staff recommends approval of the parking for the duplexes as proposed. That concludes the consent agenda. But, Madam Chair, you did have some folks come in, so you might want to.
Yes, we sure did. Those of you that came in late, if you need to speak on an item tonight, I need a green card, please. No? Okay, thank you. We will need to get a motion.
Okay, Madam Chair, I move for approval of the consent agenda as read by staff with all staff recommendations.
All in favor? And all opposed? The consent agenda will pass. Those of you that were just called on the consent agenda, you are free to go. Thank you for coming. I think she's this one. Oh, okay. You have a card, don't you? She's with the club, okay. Oh, yeah, she's the. Okay. Poor thing, had to drag her out. All right.
That leaves on our regular agenda, item
yes,
number
please.
2. File number S-1715-A, the Village at Ison Creek revised preliminary plat located on the west side of Pinnacle Valley Road, south of Pinnacle Valley Phase 5 subdivision. On February 20th, 2014, the commission approved a preliminary plat request to allow the development of this site with a single-family subdivision. The makeup of the subdivision included 51 residential lots, 4 tracts of green spaces, and 2 tracts which were reserved for future development and were not proposed to be final platted with the initial phase. The approval included variances from the typical development standards regarding setbacks. The request also included a variance from the city's land alteration ordinance to allow advanced grading of the site with the development of the subdivision. The grading of the site has taken place. The applicant has worked with the Corps of Engineers to secure the permit for the bridge crossing of Ison Creek. The applicant has also secured from the adjacent property owners an access easement to allow for emergency access via the shopping center to the south, which has access to Cantrell Road aligning with Taylor Loop Road to the south. The current request is to revise the preliminary plat to allow for a phasing plan. The request also includes the allowance of Lot 9 with a reduced rear yard setback of 15 feet. The original subdivision indicated the homes would be sprinkled as required by the 2012 Fire Code unless 2 means of access were provided. The applicant has secured that second means of access, therefore is requesting to no longer sprinkle the homes. The request is to allow a phasing plan. Section 31-121 of the city's Code of Ordinances outlines the plans for phasing, and the applicant has indicated that the development will comply with the ordinance standards. The applicant has also indicated that lots 1 through 20 will be completed in the first phase, and the remaining lots 21 through 48 will be final platted at a later date. Staff is supportive of the applicant's request. The applicant is seeking a preliminary plat approval to allow a phasing plan of the previously approved preliminary plat. The applicant is seeking to continue the previously approved variances for the preliminary plat with regard to setbacks and the addition of Lot 9 with a reduced rear yard setback. To staff's knowledge, there are no remaining outstanding technical issues. Staff feels the development schedule as proposed by the applicant is appropriate. Staff recommends approval of the request, subject to compliance with the comments and conditions as outlined in paragraphs D, E, and F of the agenda staff report. Staff recommends approval of the previously approved variance with regard to building setbacks and the additional variance to allow Lot 9 with a reduced rear yard setback, and staff continues to recommend approval of the variance request from the city's land alteration ordinance to allow advanced grading of the site.
Thank you, Ms. James. We have one card on the issue, and I think it's more for information. So the applicant can come forward, or you can let her ask her questions. Okay. Melinda Morrill. Yes, please, come up to the,
I'm Melinda Morrell, and I'm a new kid on the block, so I have never lived out in the country, so I'm not used to development. So I have a few, three specific clarifications. First one would be, the letter I got said 59 lots. I know the original application said 51, now it's 48. I know there's a lot 49 in there, so first question is there a 50 and 51 somewhere? I don't see it on the plat that I got. Question one. Number two would be the bridge. When the bridge wasn't there, when I first moved there and the wild rains we had in the spring, I had just bought the house and I looked at the creek. And of course, as you know, creeks drag brush and small trees and stuff, and it was clogging up in different areas. So my next clarification question is, who will monitor the creek and keep it open when that new bridge goes in? And the third one is, it's not going to be seen on this, but since my yard is adjacent to the entrance from Pinnacle Valley Road, and there's all these numbers on the one I got, except for the one I need, and it's a 50-foot wide access in and 25-foot road, I suppose, with sidewalks. But I don't have this one piece that's toward my property, and there's a utility pole. So I don't know if the utility pole is going to go where in the whole road sidewalk, and I need that figure, that measurement. And it's the only one that was not there. So how do I get that? So maybe they can provide that.
let's see if we can find that out.
right.
Would
Okay.
the applicant like to come up and address those questions, please?
My name is Keith Wingfield. I'm the developer on this particular tract. We'll work with Mrs. Morrell to get that information to her for that particular utility pole. We're actually still waiting on Entergy to tell us where that pole is going to actually go. We have laid a water line that is in the easement that is alongside her property. We've had Central Arkansas Water out there to ensure that we did put it in the right location, and we did. But we'll give her that exact dimension and mark it out in the field and make sure she knows where it is. I think that utility pole is going to go away, but I don't want to speak to that for sure because that's an Entergy issue. The other one's about I'm sure Public Works could speak to this, but it's their responsibility to maintain the rather large channel that we have created out there now. And it is a work in progress, so we still have it. The slopes aren't cut in and what have you, but there are certain guidelines we've agreed to do per the Public Works staff and for Corps of Engineer approval as well. They have some approval over those embankments. The lot development, and I can tell you it started off as 51 lots, and then it became 50, and now it's 49. One lot is a large tract that is adjacent to Mrs. Morrell's property, and it's about a 2.5 to 3 acre tract. It's on the north side of the creek, and then all the subdivision, and I don't own it. It's a separate property owner. And then everything to the south of the creek then is the developable property itself. Everything you see on that drawing in yellow has been maintained in trees and green. In fact, we've got a lot more trees we've actually left than what that yellow states. So with that, I think I've explained everything. If there are any, yeah, so you got a colored, I got a colored one. You didn't get that? Okay. Well, and I did this to somebody too before, and they were colorblind. They're just looking at me like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. The reason we got into phasing, we're not going to stop working for the second phase. We just can't complete the whole thing before the winter, whenever the winter starts. And so we will be working through the winter, hopefully. But if you look at on the west side of the development for Sycamore Court and Tupelo Court, we ran into about 3,000 yards of rock. And so that slowed us dramatically. So the one with Waterside Cove and Waterside Drive, we're going to open it first and then keep chiseling away on the rock that's over in the other side. So if I answer, I'll answer any other questions for you.
Okay.
Her property is to the north, due north of the red marked arrow. It forms kind of a triangular shaped lot. Yeah, there you go, Walter, right in there. And I think it's called Waterview. Waterford. Okay, yes. But we'll make sure she's got every piece of information she needs on the easements and everything. If the CAW will allow us, now that we have the water line installed, and when the road gets completed, as you well know, there's a lot of roads out there. We'd like to actually plant that up in some really nice vegetation. It would make the whole thing look better. Green is good.
I'm sure she would like that too. Okay, commissioners, do we have any other questions?
How many spans is that bridge?
2.
And is the Corps of Engineers obligated, wait a minute, are you permitted by the Corps of Engineers?
Yes, sir, I have a 404 permit, and I have a conditional letter of map revision from FEMA.
Who's going to maintain? She's concerned about the brush and all in the creek.
I think Public Works, we actually dedicate that portion, the floodway is theirs, and we dedicate a 25-foot wide strip of land either side of the floodway for maintenance and access. They've schooled me well, Troy. And they weren't flexible on that, I might add, because I wanted one side not, but they said no, too. So.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I move for approval of item 2 as read by staff with staff recommendations.
I'll second.
And all in favor? And all opposed? Item 2 will pass. Thank you all for coming. That was our last item for the night. We do have time for citizen communication if there's anyone that would like to speak. Thank you all for coming. You are adjourned.